Yeah, we're here. I sound somber, but it's because Eagles aren't going to do anything this season, and the NFL is becoming way too competitive. No, that's actually I'm going to spend a big part of this pod talking about um, changing trends in the NFL, and just it's something that I wanted to talk about something else this week. I had a whole other theme and topic. I was going to talk about relationships, but um, yes, me giving relationship advice. I know. But it's just the way the NFL offseason has unraveled. It's so interesting how teams are maneuvering and looking at things right now. But before I get to that, is new listeners, old listeners. Apparently, I have something that's crazy. Is I have apparently a lot of listeners in India. So first and foremost, shout out to all my listeners in India, right? Whoever you guys are, shout out to you guys. And if you guys want to listen to more, Western pop culture, sports, movies, celeb, whatever it is that I talk about on here, definitely go to my Instagram, just Saajan Doshi. Follow YouTube, Saajan Doshi. Subscribe. I think I'm on Saavn. That's like the most non-Indian way to say it. It's like it seems like it's their version of Spotify. Actually, you know what? What is the point of being Saavn? There you go. Look, what's the point of being in front of a computer if you're not gonna look at it? Yeah. What's like this is definitely a Hindi word that I'm not saying. Like, yeah, it's an online music streaming service. So pretty much like their version of Spotify, I guess. But anyway, guys, I want to before I get to the NFL, which will take up a bulk of this time. Um, Something that really caught my eye was like the power that movie stars. I think I think we're in a transition period where like before you saw stars had a lot of control, creative, how much, what percentage of gross profit they got, and all that. And I thought it was a really interesting article on the Hollywood Reporter about my boy Tom Cruise, and I'm a huge Tom Cruise fan. I love Tom Cruise. I love all of Mission Impossible. I loved him in Jack Reacher and Valkyrie. I loved all of them. But this article, three big things that they talk about is it's interesting because one, I didn't realize. So Mission Impossible backstory, they're made by Paramount Studios. Paramount, some of their bigger titles you guys might know of are Transformers, Mission Impossible. Um, does Paramount also have rights to the Mummy? And I think they do because I know they wanted to do that whole like the monsters thing. Like um they wanted to do this whole thing with like Frankenstein, and actually that's Universal, I think, right? Yeah. Sorry, I think that might be Universal. The reason I was bringing that up is because I wanted to speak to, yeah, Universal. So it's not Paramount; it's different. Yeah, it's part of their totally different story. But still, point being is that Paramount is in a position where they're trying to figure out, hey, how do we? I mean, they have like Paramount Plus, and they're trying to figure out where they belong in this new digital world, right? And I guess what's interesting is it's like if you're a studio, you have these large, oh, you have these large universes that you create, these large like tentpole franchises, and if you have a star that is driving that, then your kind of leverage goes away. And like to be fair, most people watch Mission Impossible because it has Tom Cruise in it, right? Like that's why I know I'm gonna watch it. I mean, obviously I want to know what happens, but it's because oh, and Captain Carter's in it too. Shout out to Peggy. Um, Haley Altwell's in it, but um, Tom Cruise has a ton of power. So in this article, there are three things, right? So one is like Paramount's kind of been stuck in like a rock and a hard place where it's like you need large franchises that generate 500 to $1 billion in revenue. You need those franchises turning, right? But they also cost maybe 100 to 400 million to make. Um, that's one part. Second part is understanding obviously the operating leverage that you can achieve by having a dominant streaming service. But to have a dominant streaming service, you need a library of a lot of content, right? Diverse content. And what's interesting, that's two, right? And the third thing is how long this has taken to get done. And I guess I understand there's like COVID and that happened, and there were a lot of delays, and we'll touch on that. But going back to the first point of the struggles that they're facing right now is interesting is that I always wondered like, wait, why hasn't Paramount tried to do like a series on Mission Impossible and stuff? But it seems like Tom Cruise has some sort of language. So Tom, if you're listening, please clarify. If I ever talk to Tom Cruise, I'd ask him. Is like, I could see how Tom Cruise can't be in the series, or maybe he could be, or maybe he doesn't want to be. But it'd be dope where like he could serve as like kind of like the Kingsman, where he could be like the mentor to a younger Tom Cruise and like in a series. And for a lot of these actors, I think before TV shows were like shunned upon, like, oh, I only do movies, I don't do TV. But now the quality of TV has picked up so much, right? That there's no reason. Like, I could totally see a Mission Impossible series being done very well. Like the cinematography could be world class, and writing and all that. I can really see it being truly well done. So I mean, look, I don't know listen, this is a media conglomerate. You have multiple people, departments, divisions, but listen, Tom Cruise has a power. So Tom, if you ever listen to this, please go and talk to whoever you need to talk to at Paramount and be like, guys, let's get this Mission Impossible series going. And that'd be like a nice bridge after Mission Impossible 8 to like continue the movies maybe. And then also, if I'm Tom Cruise, I'm thinking long term is like, wait, if I can get a series going and you can kind of create a Mission Impossible universe, right? Because that's why people love sequels and prequels and offshoots and franchises and storylines, right? Because it makes you feel like you belong and you can connect. So if I'm Tom Cruise, I'm thinking a little bit more long term, like, wait, like, wouldn't it behoove me to like, all right, let's get 7 and 8 done, but let's get like a dope ass Emmy winning, series going that really fucking crushes shit, and let's build characters up. But Ethan Hunt is still central to their development of those characters, so he can be in future movies, offshoots, spin-offs, and you can create this whole Mission Impossible universe, right? Like, that'd be so cool. And I'm sure Tom Cruise has to be thinking about this, because he's such a larger than like there's no way Tom Cruise is not thinking about that and his legacy and how he can kind of further permeate Mission Impossible to the masses. And it would work. Brown people love Tom Cruise. Like, even if no like white person watched Mission Impossible, Mission Impossible will make $1 billion off the backs of brown people. I guarantee. Like, Indian people love Tom Cruise. I want to make that very clear. Indian people love Tom Cruise. I saw the Fallout twice. I mean, I also love Henry Cavill. So, but with that being said, Indian people love Tom Cruise. People in India will watch. So if I'm Tom Cruise, I don't know how I get this message to Tom Cruise. Figure out a way to get the series going. And that'd be beautiful to have Mission Impossible 7. I think it's coming out summer 22 or 23. I don't know if it's coming out 23. That's just like, oh, come on. And then 8 comes out, and then in between you have the series, added new characters. You can build this whole universe. I think it'd be great. So I know it was a little bit of a tangent talking about Mission Impossible. The other thing, before I get to the NFL, was talking about Meghan Markle. Obviously, I love Meghan Markle. I watched every episode of Suits. Like, my sister and I from 2012, was it, or 20? It had to have been 2011, 2012. Watched every episode of Suits. Like, shout out to Rachel. It's funny because that actor, I forgot, not Harvey, but the other actor, Mike, was it? The dude who took everyone's LSATs. He kind of looks like Prince. Well, he's not redheaded, but I was like, oh, he kind of looks like Harry. But Meghan Markle, if you ever watch this, I would love to interview you for Dear Leela. I think I would love to interview you one day and just talk about transitioning of like, how'd you become an actress, and love to have that conversation. But what I want to talk about podcast quickly was, I still think it's really early. I mean, I really do think like the two Joes, as I call them, at least to my knowledge, Joe Rogan and Joe Budden, really started potting heavy. Obviously, two different lanes, different cultures, whatever. Reason I want to talk about this is that Meghan Markle background, exclusive deal with Spotify to produce like exclusive content, podcast series, what have you. My question is at what point does stuff like this become not authentic, right? Or does it become too scripted? And look, you're going to get viewership, you're going to get numbers because the names are the names, right? I think she did a special last winter that had a bunch of people, Stacey Abrams, James Corden, Elton John, etc., right? So one is, now I'm not saying this is not going to be authentic. I don't want that to be the message. Like, obviously they're going to talk about, because it seems like it's a dope concept, is that like, hey, what are things that we say and do and portray in society, and how does that impact girls that are raised to become the women that we're around, and how does that reflect on them, right? And where do how do these stereotypes and how do these things come about. So I'm not arguing that's not the authentic part of it. What I'm arguing is that on a platform, at the end of the day, in a scripted show, how unfiltered and raw can you be? Now, the example I give you is that you could say something that would upset people and then they'll threaten to cancel you and walk out and whatever, right? And now obviously I'm alluding to Joe Rogan, but the point I'm making is that what if Meghan Markle didn't sign the deal with Spotify and, she moved to Harry to build her life with her family, and she just got her webcam, she got a little setup, got her little Shure mic, they have a baller ass house in California. Would love a tour of that house. Harry, Meghan, if y'all are looking, would love a tour of the house. Beautiful house. And she just started talking about like, hey, like this is my life about acting, whatever, this and that. And I mean, look, granted, she was going through a lot of shit. She was pregnant, had a kid, royal family's after her. I get all that. But the question is that when do kind of these like scripted podcasts on Spotify become unnatural, where it's like, would it be more organic if someone, that person, that celebrity that you align with, that you connect with, that you like their arts, or like, oh, I want to like see what they're doing, whatever, wouldn't it be more authentic if it's like off the cuff and unscripted, right? Like, I'm just here talking about stuff that I like, right? That I read about. I love sports, music, whatever, politics, news, and I just talk about it, right? There's no, now I believe there's a place for scripted content. I just feel like viewers can quickly tell, like, is this like too scripted? Is this real? Is this unfiltered? Or am I just getting programming that's scripted because Spotify needs to fill out content and they're just trying to drive traffic? I don't know. I just feel like there will be an inflection point of like people who are really successful in the streaming wars and the streaming age. And I think celebrities who have a platform who come at this, and I think Brie Larson did a good job. Like, she just put out, like, she's been, podcast isn't that big. She does it with one of her friends. I've actually even really listened to much of it because it's like, it's there and she's doing it. I think over time it'll grow. And you know who else does a good job is Madeline from Riverdale. She has her vlogs on YouTube. She's like very organic, like very like, yo, y'all, I'm waking up, putting on my fucking eyelashes, like I'll have this zit on my face. Like, now if you take that and you build that connection and then you go and do something like, hey guys, you guys all know me because I do this, but hey, I want to interview all these amazing talented people. I just feel like there's more of like a natural leeway, an organic way you can get there versus it coming off the wrong way. So all that to say is I really hope Spotify doesn't drop the ball when it comes to this, because I feel like Meghan Markle is really talented, and they better put this on video. Like, if this is not on video, it's like, what are you guys doing? I know they do it for Joe Rogan, and I think for Call Her Daddy is also video on the platform. So they better not like drop the ball with Meghan Markle, because it's like there's so much talent there. Like, don't fuck it up. Like, just make sure you produce it correctly. And that's my fear, is that Spotify is rushing to get so much just content out, scripted. Let's get producers, let's get big names, and let's just pay a bunch of money. But you can't pay your money to like organic views, people who listen to the entire episodes, people who come back for more. That takes, it's more than that, right? So that's my fear, is that like with this push, if it's not done correctly, it's going to be very clear the people who want to wither away and who actually remain. So anyway, all that saying is I hope Daniel and Spotify are listening. Don't mess up Meghan Markle's show. It'd be hard to do because Meghan's really dope, and I'm really excited. But yeah, it's just a thought I had, and I don't know what other people think about this, but it's just like getting scripted stuff down, especially now that content is becoming so important. Like, everyone is just trying to produce something, finding a hit. In an age where things are getting overproduced, you lose authenticity in your voice and all that stuff. And I think that's important, is kind of keeping your voice and just being who you are. Like, yo, this is my view. But I can see now the problem with, and I'll stop after this, the problem with sometimes you might have to overscript and overproduce is like, you kind of now have to put everything to the ringer and triple check, get it past legal, get it past the woke cancel crowd. Like, oh, are we going to be okay? And it's like, yeah, there are some things obviously like within reason. It's like, hey, look, common sense. There's some things you can't say, talk about, be respectful, be mindful. But it's almost as if like you say something by accident, people want to murder you and they want to like hang you up to dry. And it's like, hey, God forbid I made a mistake, because like no one's perfect, right? And it's so sad because it's the voices on the extremes, whether you're left or right. It's like the voices on the extreme sides that drown out the majority of us in the middle who want to like talk and converse and like have conversation, but you got people yelling and shouting at both at the extreme ends who don't want to do the homework to understand and to be like, hey, look, like I totally disagree with you and I don't know where you're coming from, but you're a human being, you have an opinion. So, and I need to understand that. So I can see why Spotify is like, hey, we need to have carefully curated podcasts. We need to script them, branding, touching, finishing, polishing. But I think that takes away a little bit of the authenticity of how you get like these raving fans. So anyway, I hope Spotify doesn't mess it up. But I'm excited about that. The other thing, which, oh no, first of all, how have they not aged and what are they wearing? And what happened to Natalie Dreyer's hair? Some photos came out. Stranger Things. Round of applause. I'm excited. Stranger Things 2016. Did it come out? No. 2015, right? I'm not sure. I don't know. What is this fascination that people have with like the 80s, right? I don't know what it is. I'm fascinated too. It's like, I think you always look upon things in the past with a great fondness or nostalgia of like what could have been and how dope things were. And in reality, whether they may or may not have been awesome. But hey, look, it's the Russian super soldier. If you don't catch that reference, if you did, let me know. He's Black Widow's adopted father, and he was in Black Widow, or Scarlett Johansson's, Natasha's stepfather. But he also got the serum and was one of Steve Rogers' nemesis back in the day. But these photos don't really tell us much at all. I also don't understand how Millie Bobby Brown, first of all, what do they do to her hair? Like, why do they give her bangs? Why does Will Byers have a bowl cut? Like, come on, my guy. But I think he got an award, which is really, really impressive. So shout out to him. He's starting like a Nutella competitor, which, there's so much money. Like a lot of actors and athletes back in the day, they made money, but they're not making money now. I mean, you could be like a lower tier, whatever, in entertainment, sports, whatever, and you're going to make $1 mil, $2 mil, $3 mil, $4 mil. And fuck inflation, like $1 million will still go far today, especially if you manage it frugally, have the right type of debt, don't have consumer debt, you're squared away, your living situation, property taxes, whatever, you have stuff set up in certain Roth IRAs, whatever, and like you have extra capital on the side to like invest into businesses. And if you're a famous actor, you could put you could slap your brand on it, your name, get a third party white label and do off label products, right? Bang, run ads to it, target your audience, bang, hey, buy my fucking peanut butter. Like, look, I'm sure there's more effort and thought going into it, but the point being is that there's so much money that people are getting that you can do that. And this is smart. I'm like, this is very smart that he's doing that. So shout out to Noah for getting into Wharton and doing that. But guys, come on, what do they do to her bangs? And she also looks like the same age. I feel like she hasn't aged. She just looks like she's been 14 for like 5 years. They all literally look the same age, which is I mean, look, maybe it's because I watch the show so much, but they all literally look like they have not aged for some reason. I don't know why. That's so weird to me. Like, they literally look the same age. Like, they all look the same age. It's not even funny. He looks the same age. He definitely looks the same age. She definitely looks the same. She's, Sadie, sorry, not Sadie. Forget her name. I feel so bad. She's like 19 or 20. She does not look like a 19-year-old. She literally looks like she's 14. So, shout out to them, whatever aging serum that they're getting in the upside down, whatever they're getting from Stranger Things, they have not aged. So maybe I'm a little jealous because you can see my eye bags are kind of creeping up. But there wasn't much to say about this. I'm just excited for Stranger Things. It needs to hurry the fuck up and come out. So the one thing that I did want to get to, the NFL. Dun 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 dun. The NFL. Oh no, don't start. My computer can't handle it. I think what's interesting about the NFL right now is like the total shift that has occurred. And what I mean by that, actually, you know what? Actually, I want to leave this because this deserves like a full 20-minute speech and breakout and whatever. So that was it for Saajan Doshi and co. We just talked about Tom Cruise and Meghan Markle and Stranger Things, but no, in all seriousness, I want to give the NFL conversation that I wanted to have in more detail. I just want to see if there's any like um like secret like people coming in as guests, and if we could like ask her to like figure something out. They're not telling us much. Ooh. So 7 years ago, we planned out the complete story arc for Stranger Things. At the time, we predicted the story would last 4 to 5 seasons. It proved too large to tell in 4, but as you'll see yourselves, we're now hurtling toward a finality. It's been a little while. 9 scripts, 800 pages. Stranger Things 4 is most challenging. Season 4 will be released in 2 volumes. How do I miss this? This season is being split into 2 parts. Volume 1 of season 4 will debut May 27th. 3 years after season 3. Wow, that makes me feel old. Season 3 came on 3 years ago in 2019. Oh my god, I feel so old. While the second half, 4th season, Volume 2 will debut July 4th. Season 5, it's his last. So, the creators have also hinted that Stranger Things might get a sequel or a spin-off series beyond the show's current story and cast. There are still many more exciting stories to tell within the world of Stranger Things. New mysteries, new adventures, new unexpected heroes. Small town called Hawkins, and an alternate dimension known only as the Upside Down. Yeah, I mean, look, they're definitely going to just the money bag that it has. You have to understand that how many people were raised on this, were grown on this, and it just, again, literally what I talked about with Mission Impossible, creating universes, right? There's no way Netflix does not make, I guarantee you there will be a Stranger Things movie. I guarantee there will be, after season 5, let a few years go by, they will have a Stranger Things movie. I can promise it right now. And in addition to that, before that movie comes out, I guarantee they'll have an Upside Down spinoff, like he just said, right? Because you could explore how Hawkins came to be, right? Like, and then they're gonna have a whole new story of kids, like in the 50s or whatever, right? Like, who were the kids before 11 and her friends, right? So who was there when Hawkins became Hawkins, right? Like when they actually came there and built the stuff. So I'm sure there's a whole cast that, and multiple seasons we'll get of that, right? It never ends. So those are my Stranger Things predictions. Is after season 5, they will announce a spinoff that's going to be a prequel or a sequel. And then several years later, we will have a Stranger Things movie. So anyway, with that being said, also, wait, when are we going to start getting some Indian actors in this? So I just want to put that out there too for any casting director. Like, I would love to see some Indian kids in some of these movies. Okay, look, to be fair, we did get Iman Vellani and Miss Marvel, but to be fair, Miss Marvel was written as a brown character. I'm talking about de novo scripts. So, anyway, that is it. Episode 10, Saajan Doshi Company. It's fun stuff talking about Tom Cruise. Didn't get to the NFL stuff, but I will next episode. And yeah, I will see you guys later. Peace.